So this is my third attempt this morning, and my previous one I got 58 seconds in, and that one just then, a minute and 31. And the reason I have to keep restarting is because my beautiful children, who I absolutely love and adore, just won't shut up. Dad, what? Lexi's got my eye mask. Honest to God, I genuinely don't give a shit. What's wrong now? I scratched my foot. Then get back in bed. The irony of me saying the other day that, I'm planning on recording yesterday's episode this morning, isn't working. Well, here's the proof in the pudding. So I think I'm going to have to go back to recording in the evenings. But anyway. So this is yesterday. So it started by hitting the gym. And I was just genuinely exhausted. Like, maybe I just slept like complete shit. I will say, I know I haven't been drinking enough water recently, so I'm conscious of that. So like I did that, and obviously I came and swapped with Beck, and then Beck shot off, and it didn't. And the thing is, like, I was gonna say, did I bail? Yeah, I did bail on my affirmations and the daily routine shit. And this is probably one of the areas that I lack consistency in, is doing the things I need to do even when I don't feel like them. And it depends on the things. Like, for instance, like going to work, all good. Like, no dramas with that at all. Like, unless I am proper, buggered. Like, I'm at work, if when it comes to following through on shit that I say I'm going to do to other people, I'm really good. But when it comes to the shit, the promises that I make myself and the deals that I make to myself, I don't really follow through on it with over consistency, with a lot of consistency, so yeah. And so I'm really, really good at starting things. Like, I can make shit happen real quick. And it's one of the traits that I've kind of noticed about me that I just thought was how people work, and it's not. It's how I work. Sorry. That I'm really, really good at making things happen. Yeah, but there's a lot of other shit that I need to work on. Anyway. So, just ended up procrastinating throughout the morning, and I was just tired, eh? So anyway, so I went to my mate's place. Hang on a second. Sorry, I got some shit in my throat. I bailed up my mate who they've got a spare office that they use from time to time, and I just said to him, I was like, guys, listen, I've got a heap of work to get through. Do you mind if I just plunder your office for the next fortnight? And they're like, yeah, go for it. So I grabbed all my gear after brekkie and after the kids were set and stuff, and I shot off there. And that was, so I set up, and, and so I quickly went and got some brekkie and woofed that down, so that's probably another 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And then, oh God, I'm so sorry. Then after that, I pulled up, and I just got chatting with him, and he was kind of in the same boat. He was like, man, I just don't have the momentum today. I was like, oh, no. So we ended up having a bit of a yarn about, how business is going and, where they're headed. And, then all of a sudden, it's, I was hoping to be able to start tackling work around, well, I want to be, into the thick of work by around 8. And, now it's like 9:30. And yeah, and sure. Oh, yeah, sure, Billy. Cut the conversation short. Like, the man's letting me use his office for free, undistracted. And that's the other biggest problem I've got here is I've had to start this episode again 3 times because I got the kids and stuff. And yeah, I love my kids and everything else, but far out, like, unfortunately, this is their craft room and, Beck's office and my office and all that sort of shit. And, all together, hang on, there's constant interruptions throughout the day, not even including the whole, like, meltdowns that happen from time to time. I'm like, man, that sounds like someone just genuinely got hurt. So you need to just go make sure the kids are all right. And, even if that's not the case, it's just like, but anyway. I used to really subscribe to the idea that it's like, I mean, for the most part, like Beck looks after the kids, I look after the business and that sort of thing. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that it's just meant to be this. I feel like what is socially acceptable as normal nowadays is really not that normal. And I don't think it's how the human beings are meant to flourish, if we're going to call it that. So yeah, anyway. So I started working on the new systems in the business, based on the Great Game Business implementation stuff. And I was just, my eyes were burning, and I was just like, and I think these are the moments where I'm just like, what am I meant to do? Like, because all this like success literature is about like, yeah, hustle, Goggins, rah. But the other half of me is just like, fuck boy, just take a 15-minute nap and come back strong. So yeah. You listen to like the health gurus and they're just like, yeah, like this is fucked. And no, you're not meant to work. Or, I mean, some people are saying like a 25-hour week, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if that is normal, I'm certainly not used to that and probably wouldn't be able to do that. And then you've got other people that are like, 80-hour weeks, hustle, grind, sleep where you work, make shit happen, daddy. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, and it's just the information age, right? There's so much information that all the information means none of it's valuable. Like, it's just, and you've got opposing arguments on both sides, and it's just frustrating. But anyway, whatever. I think that, I think my thought then was maybe you just need to pick a methodology and that you subscribe to and run with that. And when I think around that, I'm like, all right, well, who would I like to emulate? And is that probably a good way to go about it? I don't know. But here's what I don't want. I don't want to sacrifice my wife and Beck came first. That was cool. I don't want to sacrifice my relationship with my wife and my kids. That felt really cool, actually. In favor of financial success, because again, like that's the thing that everybody says. They look back on their life, and they're on their deathbed, and they go, "I wish I spent more time with my family." My thought just then was, I wonder if people spent more time with their families, what would be, let's just say that was the default. No one regretted time with their families. What's the next thing that they would have regretted? Say like, I wish I spent more time with my family. Maybe the next thing would be something around self-actualization, perhaps. I would imagine so. I don't know. I mean, it seems to make sense to me. Yeah. So my thought being then is like, okay, well, if I wanted to, get to the end of my life with no regrets, step one is spend time with my family and be diligent in that, and with Beck and the kids and everything else. And then my next thought would be, have I become the man that I could have become during my lifetime? That would probably be the next question. Food for thought. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I don't really want to continue to sacrifice my health. Like here's what I've learned about myself. I can run for about 3 or 4 days on 2 to 3 hours sleep. And then after that, it's literally just like I get a chest cold. And And if I don't stop, I literally, like, my body makes me stop, you know. So I that's what I've learned about myself, and I don't like operating like that. You know, from time to time, there's been instances where I have done that, and I don't like. I feel like a crackhead. That's the best way I can explain it is that I feel like skittish and jittery and just like delirious, and it's just like it just doesn't. It feels yuck, and I don't like it. Do I do it when I need to? For sure, but yeah. And for the record, that hasn't happened for a very long time now. I think this is one of the other things I kind of struggle with is this whole thing is like, okay, you hustle and grind and you grow the business and all that sort of stuff to get to a point where things are stable and comfortable, interesting. Because that's probably one of the things that I want to kick from my life. And maybe, if not comfortability, then what? Then what? Like, and it doesn't mean that you negate any like social responsibility for being able to actually do anything meaningful with the wealth you build. Like that's in part of it, but it's like, why keep hustling? Like, what's this hustle culture shit for? And if the goal is to get to a point that you're not having to hustle, then sure. Then okay, maybe you get to the point where you can then start looking at social impact. Yeah, okay. So I guess following that train of thought for me, like my thought would be, you know, if I want to have impact, then I need to have the runs on the board. Because let's just say that I get to a point that we've got, you know, $500,000 in net income as a household. Let's just say that. Okay, that'd be a pretty good target. So let's just say that we get to that point, and then from there we don't really, or we listen. Beck and I have done the budget up, right? That would be a personal trainer, someone to cook for us a few nights a week, gardener, a cleaner, private tutoring for the kids, as in like they're homeschooled and tutored. Their social activities, their sporting activities, our holidays, and our all our expenses and shit like that paid for. So and putting S&P 500 shit and that's sort of that. I'm not big into the shares yet, so that's why yeah. So that's like you look at that, you go, yeah, that sounds about 500 grand. Yeah, it's between 4 and 500, and so let's just say that we get that. Okay, so sweet. Now we've got like a really great lifestyle. All these things are accounted for. Kids are getting the education and the opportunities that we want to have. We're taking them on great holidays, so it's like, okay, cool. Like it's a good place to be. Let's just say past that, it's like, well, if I wanted to actually like have any sort of meaningful impact, because then I'm like, well, then what? I don't want to retire, because if there's one thing I'm conscious of, you retire, and it's like a couple of years later, you're in the grave. It's so bad. So I'm like, I don't really want to retire. So then what next after that? Okay, well, yeah, you'd want to make a decent social impact. Okay, well, for me to do that, the question that comes in my mind is, well, yeah, so, sorry, I'll finish that sentence. The question that comes to my mind is, like, I need to have the runs on the board to be able to make the impact. And if I'm only, like, say, got $500,000 in net income, in the grand scheme of things, really, that's not that much. So then I go, okay, well, what if I grow organizations and start businesses and scale them up to the point where, now I get some real good runs on the board, then I've got something to say. Or is that a lie? Is that a lie that I've kind of bought into and told myself? Yeah. I don't know. And if not that, then what? Like, just go start running like ultra marathons, like everyone else that kind of gets to the point where we've got loads and loads of money, and then want to find the limit of who I am. It feels nice? Like paddling down the Amazon for like 3 weeks alone. That feels really nice. There's a guy in Esperance. His name's Tom. His wife, and well, he's not really involved in it. He does the parking. I like the guy, but his wife Tiff owns Bread Local, and he did a solo expedition for like, I think it was 50 days. Nearly died and shit. But I'm pretty sure he's ex-military. Yeah. Be pretty cool to do some stuff like that. Maybe that's what I'll do. Whatever, who cares? I'm thinking too far ahead anyway. Anyway, so I had a nap on the couch at this mate of ours' office. Woke up and started tackling everything. I looked at the time, and I had a mate coming around at 12:30 to just kind of talk business, and he's got a few things happening. And we just, I like the way he thinks, and I like the way he operates, so I just wanted to kind of touch base and see how things are going. And it's always good just having people at that level, in the same level as you, and you're on the journey together and stuff. And so that was at 12:30. So by the time that I ended up having this nap, it was like 11ish, and Mother's Day's coming up, and I was like, you know what, I've got about an hour to get this shit I need for Mother's Day, otherwise I'm done. So this like 4 hour window that I had to be able to, and Beck's love language is gifts, so I can't fuck this up. So that's where I was like, well, you know what, I am going to pause this. Unfortunately, the 4 hours worth of work ended up reduced to about an hour and a half. And even then, it wasn't wildly productive. It's just like, it was just frustrating and shit. Anyway, so Mother's Day, went around and got all the stuff I needed to get for Mother's Day, and yeah, came back home, and I walked in and Beck was sitting there, and I'm just like when you're like shitty and frustrated, but it's not like overt. It's not like rah! It's just like it's just like it's like a volcano. It's the best way I can explain. It's like a little like bubbling frustration just sitting in your belly. And she's like, "Hey, how's your day?" I'm like, man, I was like, honestly, babe, I would just love to fight someone right now. If someone offered an out, I'd be so keen. And it's been a while since I've been in a fight, so I'm already a little bit like that, and I'm not talking like a street fight, like, oh yeah, but you know what? And it wasn't in an angry way. It would just be like if someone said, "Hey Billy, like, do you want to have a punch on?" It would be exactly what I wanted in that moment. It's like, when you're craving chocolate cake and someone gives you a slice of chocolate cake, and it's just this satisfaction, and that was the like, moment. Anyway, and I think that like that was for the most part around. I just wasn't getting the traction that I needed to get, and it's just this moment, So yeah. Anyway, tidied up the office after all that. So like I wrapped Beck's prezzies and all that, and tidied up the office just because it was a dog. And again, the nature of a shared office is that it's just a shit show. One thing I'm really looking forward to, I think it was one of the generals or something. I remember reading about them. Actually, I think it might have been a Ryan Holiday book. Anyway, and he was talking about he doesn't have a desk. He's got a table, and the table doesn't have drawers. So everything has to be finished. You have to finish with a clean desk. That was the rule, or clean table. And I really like that. So I think I'll probably adopt that when we get the office built at work. Yeah. So anyway, so then this mate of mine came over and we got talking around business, and he's forever looking at different opportunities, and we're just talking about some stuff that's coming up, and yeah, and it was just really good, his perspective and how he goes about things, and learns. Man, the man does not stop learning, and it's really really good to have someone in my network. Although I don't see him very often, he's one of those people that I've come to know pretty well. Yeah, and I've no doubt that as we go forward in life and stuff, I've no doubt that we'll remain in contact and remain good friends. So it's really cool to have people that are on the same journey, So it's been really good. And then Lexi's assembly. So she got this award, cute as. We were going for a walk later in the evening, and she didn't know that she was getting the award. We thought she knew. Well, I thought she knew, but she didn't. And so she was so amped, And just this is the thing about showing up for your kids, hey, like, and So we walked in and we're sitting right at the back of the assembly, and we're looking around and looking around. And I'm like, where? And then I see eyes. I lock eyes with. Goodness, I lock eyes with her, and her face lights up, and she's just sitting there like waving at me, and it's just like the importance of just showing up for your kids is so big. Well, showing up for anyone who's meaningful in your life. Let's just call it that. Like, yeah, it's really cool. So that was really sweet. Um, so quick side note. I just thought this was funny as my mum and her partner, he's Nivan, which means they're from Vanuatu, and they run a non-for-profit where they take medical aid over there and help out over there and stuff. And Air Vanuatu went into liquidation, and so they're kind of stranded at the moment. And dude, it's so funny. So the Aussie press, or the Aussie media, sorry, the media, they got in touch and decided to interview Rico. Like, oh, you're stranded. Like, how do you feel? How do you think you want to get back? And he's just so nonchalant. Hey? He's the funniest guy. And this is like live TV. He's like, yeah, well, it's a bit far to swim. Oh, he's a crack up, man. He's so funny, eh? Oh, it makes me laugh. Anyway, so I came home to get stuff done. Beck took the kids to the park, which was great. And and I just was like, you know what, I'm just going to spend the time catching up on the podcast episodes. So I did that. It was good to just kind of like go through and unpick the shit in my head again. So if for nothing else, this is valuable for that. So one of the things I did get to do was go through and review the customer feedback because we put it out to our customers. And listen, for the most part, it's exactly what we were expecting. Quality, consistency, speed of service. Ultimately, that's it. So Tuesday, I'm going to present that to the team. We'll dial in on that, and then we will put it out to the public. So now the public, let them know, hey, this is what you've said. This is what we're working on. So, yeah. So use the public to kind of keep us accountable as a business, which is going to be really cool. Then, Beck was cooking dinner, and so the kids wanted Alexi. Since it's funny how like one thing we've been really conscious of is we want to make making money fun and easy for them. And so Lexi said, she everywhere she goes, she's always playing shops. She wants to play shops, and it's so great. So we said to Beck made dinner and put them in all these separate bowls and stuff, and then took it outside, and we've got like a little cubby house, and so Lex was in there, and she would plate everyone up with the different ingredients Beck had cooked up, and then based on what we ordered and that, and yeah, it was really nice, and Lex loves it, and the girls wanted to get involved, and to her credit, Lexi actually found a job for Tilly and Eliza that didn't compromise the whole thing, and yeah, she's a good kid. We decided to go for a walk, and it was so during that walk that Lex was saying, and so Lex just likes to walk with Beck and I, and Tilly and Eliza like to scoot up ahead and ride ahead and race each other and stuff, and that was perfect. And being that it's family night, kids, we all came home, and the kids wanted to watch a movie, which really gutted Beck because she's got this game that she's been wanting to play with the kids for so long, and the kids just haven't been interested in it yet. No doubt we'll play it and they'll love it, but yeah, so we ended up watching a movie instead. We watched Smallfoot, and they thought it was genuinely hilarious. The funniest movie out. It's about a Yeti colony. And then we were so done, we went straight to bed, and I woke up about an hour ago, and man, I feel so much better. So, yeah. Anyway, that's that. So I'm going to work on getting my head back in the game. That's my thing. I don't know. I feel like a bitch. Hey, if I'm to be really honest, I feel like a bitch because it's like I got to get my head back in the game, and I look at all these guys who just go ahead and conquer the earth and shit, and it seems like they don't ever have an off switch. And I'm just like, am I broken? Am I like, I don't know. I don't know. It's frustrating though because I'm just like, yeah. Or is it's just like a habit thing or like a personality thing, and it's all good. I'm like, okay, sweet. Like, if there's one thing I've learned, it's like, well, so what I was going to say is that I've learned, like, for me, forcing functions to make shit happen are really useful, right? Because I'm like, I'm backed in, and yeah, I do really well when I'm backed in a corner, right? I just, creativity, like problem solving, just fucking making shit happen like nothing. Like, that's where I thrive. And it's not good and I don't like it, but that's what I've learned about myself, right? And and if it's about like changing your personality, which I do think you can change. In fact, there's a lot of study that backs that up. I don't know. Or maybe it's just discipline. Maybe I'm just an undisciplined, like, lazy, undisciplined fuck. Maybe that's it. And the thing is, I know for certain I could definitely be more disciplined. And then my thought is like, okay, so everyone goes to the marshmallow experiment. Oh, it's about having, willpower and discipline, and and that's one of the greatest predictors of success in the future and all that sort of shit. And you go, no, because like you actually have a look at the follow-on studies from that years later, and it's all about having trust in the future, not about discipline. If you can trust the future, then you know that it's okay to wait because you're not going to get shanked. It's not going to be disappear. So that's where I go, okay, well, maybe it's about my perspective or some shit. I think my kids are out of bed. Yeah, whatever. Now I'm just rambling. I'll get my head sorted and talk to you guys tomorrow.